go.
Sorry for the major delay getting here. I'll give you a secret next week. Talk today is on Bluetooth hacking, or essentially why you shouldn't use Bluetooth in the first place. As usual, the legality point in front, I take no responsibility as a society or Abertay for any usage you may do with this. If you mess up, we have nothing to do with you. You're on your own. So don't use this for stupid purposes. Don't get caught. Alright. First part of it is, what is Bluetooth? It's originally a wireless standard that was built to replace RS-232 cables to make an environment less cluttered and be easier to use, as well as in a transportable network in the form of a PAN, person area network. Roughly, it works in the band of 400 to 240 megahertz. It's actually around about 79 megahertz. It leaves a little bit of each end as a band barrier. It runs in the ISM band, which is the unlicensed industrial, scientific and medical research band. So it requires less licensing and legislation to actually control through. It's meant to make things easier by allowing, instead of just one input port for an RS-232 cable, to give it a wide selection. You can have a phone connected to a headset, a computer, and a device lock. Just give you a wide selection, make it easier, more universal, and some control similar to the way the smart cards is attempting to be. It works, as I said, on a band of radio waves on small little pieces in small little packet bytes, sends it across 79 bands of megahertz to attempt to try and find a device when it finds it, and then just sends it across that whole spectrum along the same MAC address just to make it faster for transferring information. It's very open, very easy to manage. The source can be found for different pieces with these. There's very little holding back on it. Some programs will have their own proprietary points on it that will stop you from being able to get access and tinker with them, but yeah, legalities. There are newer versions that have come around. It's currently on about version 4. Recently, the iPhone 4 GS got recently shipped with it. It's not really activated yet. It's just a new lower power usage rating and faster transfer points for longer battery life. Currently, it meets most military and government standards you get for transferring information. Ham radio and all is well known for not being too supportive of that idea. Crosswave will stay like the RAF base down there or the base up in Arbroath. They get quite finicky about that. Bluetooth is designed to try and not interfere with that quite so much, except for in France. Always seems to be the French I found whenever it comes to research, but until about 2008, they used the same radio frequency wave for their active army movements. So using it anywhere near that or air traffic control towers was classified as a heavily illegal offence. It was major time to go call it. I personally didn't for a reason just because it's easiest for that. TikTok, there are currently 4 iterations, as I said before. They're all mostly the same, just slowly upgrading how much information they can transfer by pushing down. But there was a big difference between 2 and 3 in it changed the way it was actually encoded. So a lot of hardware from the older days actually doesn't run with near protocols only. If you try and use the original headset from about 2004, you'll actually find a lot of error messages come up. It won't register at all, and more often than not, it may die or burn out from attempting to try and handle transferring information. Originally, the first transfer rate was about 0.7 megabits. At best, you'll now get around 24, but you'll still need the device to be right next to each other for the transfer rate. For antennas and control range, there's 3 main ones you get. Class 1, you'd be hard-pressed to find outside of an industrial sort of standard. It's difficult to get your hands on 20 decibel antenna for the things, simply because for the Bluetooth ones, you're looking at something about the size of the radiator. They are quite massive. Class 2, you'll find often in the likes of car door locks, gimmicks and points. Inside PlayStation 3 controllers, there's an interesting one. I found the DualShock 3 controller contains them, but not the original 6-axis. It contains a Class 3 in it. Literally, you'll find Bluetooth wherever you go. It is not even funny the amount of places you find. If you look around, quite often, it's within 10 meters, you'll find at least one device. They'll go from your phone, your computer, game controllers, headphones. Some homes even have light controls for it. Creative have wireless headphone selections they use, as well as media centers. You can even get bracelets with it, designed for on a night out where you've maybe had a few too many to drink, or you keep losing your phone. You pair it to your device. If you get out of range, it doesn't get the information sent to it in a constant wave. It'll give you a small vibration or a shock to let you know that you've left your device behind. It's useful in some circles, I suppose. But you'll even find it in cars as well. I found recently that was quite an interesting one. Not just the GPS, but actually the locking and control systems. As I was tinkering around with, okay, it's not going to load it yet. I had an image there, I'll look it up afterwards. I was playing around on Android looking through Root Explorer, checking the data files, and actually inside it there is a blacklist of devices it can't connect to, namely specific MAC addresses that link up to the likes of Lexus, Audis, BMWs, all control system points telling you not to tinker with them unless you change the compiler and authorization. So you could, in theory, change your phone's controls to actually boot up a car, which would be quite fun and quite drastic as well. But there are two main ways you can tackle phones. The first one is called hijacking. This is the one you'll find quite often in media stories, conspiracy theories and sections, is literally just sitting in and listening on people's conversations. You can record your own MP3 files that have your own version just sitting there for intel gathering and all, but you can also have your own sound files that you can inject into the conversation. You can just play them through, play them back. You can have a background noise or someone else speaking to try and mess with the conversation, just your own injection control. The last of them is the full access. Essentially, similar to most hacks you get, it gives you full control. It can be anything from just a basic shell that you would do privilege escalation with to jump up, to an FTP process to let you dump your own file and trigger an exploit that way, or pull, such as the address book, emails, messages, contacts, across the phone onto your own and essentially make a clone of it directly from it. The audio jacking, the main method that was originally developed was a proof of concept called Car Whisper. This was about 2005, the first time I think I've ever heard of it. It's a very basic tool that exploits the headset itself by pretending that the computer is a phone. It works by presetting your Bluetooth stack that it sends out at the start of every message of the pin to 4 zeros or 1, 2, 3, 4 as the most common pins. I mean, has anyone here ever used a Bluetooth headset even for gaming or any Bluetooth devices? How often have they been 0, 0, 0 or 1, 2, 3, 4? If you've ever seen another one, I'd be actually quite interested to hear that because I've yet to find one. But from that, you essentially just change your device type on the computer itself to phone via a line of code on the HCI config files. By setting it to 05024, it makes it think that it's a phone symbol. That's the sort of starting message it will send out is, this is my address, you know, this is my device type. The value for a computer is 3E0100 by default there. If you go for a headset, it's something along the lines of B2420. It's just literally a mad address they give to each other, trying to cause as little confusion as possible. But from this, you can then use it to scan for nearby devices, or if you have the address already from a previous target or reading their phone directly from that, you can connect directly when you know they're nearby, even if they're not discoverable, simply by having the address available. Taking full control is probably the most interesting of them all. You get the best method for it is a Bluetooth framework that's been around for a couple of years called Blue Diving. It hasn't been updated as much recently. They put one through about 4 or 5 days ago for the iPhone, but it's nothing major. It's just updating the protocols to say we know this exists, but we haven't got much to play around with it. The main one I was going to show today is Car Whisper, but as I discovered, they actually fixed that major issue in recent versions about 6 weeks ago. I stupidly updated my phone, so I can't exactly drop in on my own one. But I will show you this one here. From it, you'll be using Blue Diving, you can actually launch a scan to check the nearby area. If anything's discoverable, it'll ping out as much as it can. There's 3 main options. You can get anything from just a scan to get a basic address and pick off. There's a scan and attack. It's useful for a quick drive-by assault. You get an address, hit it with everything possible, just to try and get an active shell to do what you need, and then leave it. It's very useful for scripting and pieces like that. And the third one is a scan and info. That'll probably be the most interesting for a pen tester and such, because you would be able to leave it maybe running for about a day. On a constant scan, you can pick up phone IDs. Usually people will name their own phones. If not, you'll still have the MAC address, and quite often they'll leave themselves logged into Facebook and such with GSM that actually updates those there sort of pieces on some of the Bluetooth information. You'll get a phone number now. It's actually quite popular with some of the new ones. It'll list its number in there for some unknown reason. But you can get anything from literally a basic shell on phone to an FTP connection that will let you send your own code, trigger it, type it, or even reboot the entire phone and wipe it, let alone pulling your own information across. But the main one I actually found most interesting when I first started reading this, it hasn't been updated for a very long time, is Redfield. It was originally a proof of concept shown at DEF CON a very long time ago, to show that a device, even if it's not discoverable, can still be found by doing a brute force attack by scanning the last 6 bits of the Bluetooth address. By doing this, it sends 1 bit on each megahertz of the frequency that it can work with, so it can fire about 79 at a time, and it has to wait about 5-6 seconds. And fires another 79. So it's a very, very slow attack. It takes forever, so you leave it for about maybe a week or so, and you can probably get a couple of answers out of it. Not exactly the best, but it still proves that it can be found. It's not entirely secure. But I don't know, is there any questions, or does I just want me to jump straight into showing? No? Just actually show you what you're going to show that. Nope, it's fantastic. I'll get it after. Blue screen's like over that. Questions about this?
Can we read the whole thing? Maybe it's here. Reread the whole box.
Yeah, it looks like it's not going to sorry. is just burn it.
Go to your phone.
Oh, pretty dynamic actually is the framework that's used. The first one is Car Whisper. It's actually built for programming as well, but it was originally just proof of concept program that's built for it. Yeah, working with the portable edition. Currently it's all Linux version. Getting working. You have to do it from a computer. There's all sorts of attack platforms you can use.
What are you doing?
I make it stable effectively first.
None of us just get everybody to
You might have to enable it again in Windows control panel. What?
Friends doesn't actually use
Sorry? For all you can make, you can even probably just get the framework. I didn't I don't main say fucking about this.
Andy, the device is disabled.
No, subdomain on it, so it's like davidpayton.hazardwilly.com and hayden.hazardwilly.com. Or email.
Because you've got an email address like that, every email you send with my goes straight to spam. Probably the best way for it.
What's the actual error message?
The actual error message itself being used by the Microsoft thing.
Oh.
Because a bloody Microsoft is trying to run a bloody thing off. I really wish so very, very much.
What's it you've got, the USB, Andy?
Just a basic Bluetooth adapter type of thing. Bloody thing keeps getting registered to Microsoft first. I still think it's there. Yeah. Anyone actually try to stop Microsoft being absolute partial to their life?
Can you eject it or?
It hasn't been ejected from Microsoft. It says the network to the machine. I really, this is why I don't install the drivers on Microsoft.
This is captured already.
Yeah, it says it's already got.
Yes.
Yeah, just hover over it.
It says it's captured, but it's not giving me the option to actually type a configuration, which is what I kind of need to sign it.
Did you install the framework on Ubuntu?
I can't remember why I actually done it in the first place.
That takes off doesn't exist. You don't reference it.
I actually shoot it from myself first of all, and then just figure out what it does and what's happening here.
You don't open it.
It's being awesome.
You're not actually opening it. If you're trying to watch it stream, you need to give the file watch.
Well, you can't because it's on backtrack. Yeah.
File watch at the bottom. Go to, you see the path.
That's why if you're doing shit like live USB, you can use a live USB and
When instead you just want to keep that. It looks for a whole path rather than for the file. So at the moment, now if you change anything you do, it should send me back. That's what I do. Yeah, but it's not looking, it's not
absolutely everything. I'm not exactly.
set the path to it.
I'm so angry.
Call this text log as well.
Am I doing anything I can think of off the top of my head? I'll try and get this running on Ubuntu. I can show you the actual framework itself just first now. I'll try and get this running on Ubuntu after it actually got the information of this here is Blue Diamond. It's essentially just a series of tools all inside it. As you can see, the three main top ones you can get there are scan, scan, and attack, and scan info, the ones you'll actually use to get the information you want. You can scan for a specific device, you can scan just for headsets, just for phones, just for adapters, just to really narrow down your search and availability. You can add known devices, you can change preferences, that's the main one you want to go for the start. You can control your device visibility. First of all, do you want your computer to be visible? Do you want it to be an open and viewable hotspot that people will try and connect to themselves? You can just change the setting from there directly. You can choose what channel you're hopping across. There's about 3 different ones you can select from just on how much power you're running the device. 17 is your safest bet, it gives you the full spectrum. That there's just where you save most of your downloads you'll get, say, the MP3s and all you record if you're using Car Whisper if it's still running. You can choose the number of dongles. If you have multiple Bluetooth points put together, you can use them as a multi-network thing to say, hey, I'm the one offering out a voucher for a free meal at the Union. While another one kind of goes, yeah, I've just received it here, or I'm offering a free drink just to try and make it seem more legit and give you a wider area coverage. You can choose the device that you want to choose straight from the start. That was what I was trying to tinker around with until Microsoft decided not to let me do it there. I can't figure out why not. You can choose what you want to call it. They think for fun and giggles, the first one you should call it is Phone of Doom. And I don't know about you, that would be the first thing I'd connect to if I walked in somewhere. I think that's just me. You can choose how many times you want to loop the scan. 5 is the default. That will run for about maybe 5 full cycles, about 2 minutes at most. You can set that to run for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, however long you want to leave your computer going to try and gather as much information as you can. You can set the device type. This will save you the hassle of figuring out which address you actually need for your phone, your headset, whatever. You can actually pick it straight from there. It has a database pre-built, ready to load. Variable cards that you can send. This is essentially brute force that you would use. This is just it smashing it with as much as it can to try and get an FTP shell when it can. And that one there is the change the scan we can use. There's 3 main ones. Is an HCI scan, which is just using a Bluetooth device, regular one, or an attack vector called Green Plaque. A one, take this out of the name. It's essentially using 2 Bluetooth devices, one to actually try and get the phone to connect to it, while the other one sends the traffic along the way to try and pick up as much as it can and inject it to them, essentially smashing the phone along the way so it can't freak out and shut itself down. You can set a sound file, so if you're leaving your computer there while you're doing something else, it'll play a little audio file just to let you know we found something, do you want to take a look? And that's where you'll put your main logs, the list of the devices you'll actually find via scan and capture. That there will also have sound where it stores it. That's your output, the raw file that you want to call it. You can set that to an MP3, a WAV, and a MIDI if you really wanted to, don't know why. But from that you can choose those main sections, choose preferences, show log files. That's just the main scanning. Your actual actions have choose a distinct target you'll have already from a database. If you've got a scan already done, you'll have a full collection built up who you want to hit first. You can test all exploits and all attacks, essentially similar to running an autoclone script. It will probably make the phone fall over, so I wouldn't really recommend running those. I prefer choosing which one I wanted. You have the best chance of actually getting a result. You can choose channels you actually want to launch it on, which exact band of information you want to send it along once you've got a shell using RFComp. That means if you keep it at the lowest end, it would use less energy, it would be far harder for people to detect if they were trying to do a scan of themselves to see if any traffic's going along. It would require a much stronger antenna to actually pick up the signal. You can request a new connection, a new key to actually handle it further, essentially opening the phone up as a further pivot device. You can kind of go, can I have another key here? Sure, offer that out to another phone and try and link them all together for a jump. The export menu lets you choose exactly what you want to use. There's a selection there, Blue Snarf and Blue Snarf++ were the originals that came out for attempting to try and get a shell on the device. Blue Snarf is quite out of date. It stopped being fully functional in 2009. Blue Snarf++ is the one they've been working on since, really to try and keep it going. Snarf and Ericsson was back when they had their own protocol they used during it, but they gave up on that after a while because you could only connect Sony to Sony Ericsson. Bluebug is essentially just a listening device. You plant it on, it will record the audio and try and send it back to you. It's similar to the way Car Whisper would work, but you couldn't do it live and inject your own audio along the way. Essentially, as you go further down, it's mostly out-of-date pieces you get now. Symbian Remote Start doesn't even run anymore. HCI Dump Overflow is just to try and get more information if it has phones already saved in some of this, to try and get the information off that, so you can build up a further database by going, right, I know this phone connects to this phone quite regularly. I know this one's information, I can try and hit it next. And the last one is tools, is just there. You can choose which one you want to use for your collections. That can be using Car Whisper, BSS, Greenplack, Redfield, or BTFTP is the automatic connection. If you use BTFTP, it's an automatic. I'm an open FTP server who wants to try and download from here. Is anyone looking for something? So if they're scanning, they may see, oh, this is where I'll find a voucher. If someone, let's say, they attack me, they'll connect, and that just leaves you with an open FTP connection to fire whatever you want down the phone itself. If I can get it running, I would show you Redfield. It is literally just cycling through hex over and over again. It is the most boring thing I've seen in a long time. But I did get quite excited the other day whenever I changed it to try and scan the last 2 bits of the address, and it only took half an hour to find the phone. It was quite enjoyable. Well, other than that, that's pretty much it. You can choose the exact target. You can pick services that are running, find services, check your vendor, and see if there's anything specific about it. So if you find, say, a ZTE blade, you can check what firmware it's running by requesting, what are you doing, what's running, and you give me your vendor. I'm a ZTE. It'll check what services it's running. Maybe it's allowing to be a wireless hotspot or such. It'll kind of say, Bluetooth point here. You can use me as a tether point if you want to, just offering more information, because one of the original designs for Bluetooth was meant to be an open source sort of information offering. Such as you walk around, your phone will get a pop-up message kind of going, oh, there's a deal going on in there, or there's something going on here, your bus ticket for cheaper, scan that way. That kind of went down the toilet, but the information is still inside the protocol, it still sits there, they haven't gotten rid of it, so it's still a prime factor for you to use for an attack. Any questions other than that? That's the job I can do until I get this thing working. No? Nothing? Thanks.
next week we're going to have a talk by Daniel Force, I think he's still doing it anyway, on exploiting the inherent trust of human interface devices, or HIDs. But Paul, you were saying you might have something for next week as well.
I don't think so. I think Daniel will be
Dan,
probably
probably
down and then maybe a couple of weeks later.
no problem. So we'll save again for next week. Like I was saying at the start of the talk, we're still looking for the team for web design. So is anyone interested at all in taking part in the designing the website? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. I'll see you guys just now, and we'll get your names and details, and we'll talk about starting a team. So yeah, see you all next week. And or tonight, actually.
Sort of stop it.
Everyone.